In 2008, Barcelona built a team around a 21-year-old Lionel Messi, alongside Xavi, Iniesta, Eto'o, and Puyol, and did something no club in football history had ever done before. They won 6 trophies in a single year. Every single one they entered. 2 years before that, Barcelona had actually won the Champions League, but the 2 seasons that followed fell apart completely. They finished behind Real Madrid in the league both years, and were knocked out of the Champions League semi-final by Manchester United, beaten by a single moment of brilliance from Paul Scholes, despite dominating possession at Old Trafford. The golden era that had started with Ronaldinho's arrival back in 2003 had collapsed into disarray. Ronaldinho's own discipline had slipped badly, his best form long behind him. Deco's influence in the dressing room was fading too. Standards that had once defined the club had quietly eroded. Real Madrid, meanwhile, had won back-to-back league titles. By the summer of 2008, plenty of people inside and outside the club believed Barcelona's cycle at the top was simply over. The manager, Frank Rijkaard, was finished, and Barcelona had no idea who would replace him. What they did next is still considered one of the biggest gambles in football history. Most people expected Barcelona to bring in someone with real experience, a proven coach who'd already won things at the top level. Guardiola had been a Barcelona legend as a player, a key part of Johan Cruyff's dream team through the 1990s. But as a coach, he had exactly 1 season of experience. Not at the top level, not even in the second division. 1 season with Barcelona B, the reserve team playing in Spain's 3rd tier. He had never once coached a match in La Liga. So why did the board trust him? Part of the answer was Cruyff himself, the man who'd shaped Guardiola as a player and still carried enormous influence at the club, and who quietly backed the appointment. But it was still a huge risk, and the reaction proved it. The press called it too soon, too naive, a club in crisis handing the keys to a rookie. Many assumed this was less a bold decision and more a desperate one, and that it wouldn't take long before Barcelona were looking for their next manager all over again. Guardiola's first moves confirmed how serious he was regardless. He made it clear Ronaldinho and Deco had no future at the club, 2 of Barcelona's biggest stars. He even hinted that Samuel Eto'o's place wasn't safe, and he declared one player untouchable, Messi. He promoted a quiet, largely unproven defensive midfielder from the reserve team, Sergio Busquets, ahead of established veterans, because he trusted him inside the system more. That system was tested immediately, and at first it looked like a disaster. Barcelona opened the league season away at newly promoted Numancia. They dominated the match completely, reportedly over 80% possession, more than 2 dozen shots. And they lost, 1-0 to a single counter-attack. Their next match, at home to Racing Santander, ended in a 1-1 draw. 2 games, 1 point, and the criticism started immediately. Beautiful football, 0 results. This is exactly the moment people expected Guardiola to fail. A rookie manager, a squad missing its 2 biggest stars, no points to show for it. Had this stretched on much longer, there's a real chance the board would have panicked and moved on from him before he ever got the chance to prove the system worked. Guardiola didn't blink. He told the squad nothing was changing, and 3 matches later, everything clicked. Barcelona beat Sporting Gijón 6-1, then kept scoring. 44 goals in 12 matches. To understand what changed, you have to understand what this team was actually built to do. Messi stopped being a winger and became something closer to a false 9, drifting inside from the right rather than staying pinned to the touchline. Centre-backs didn't know whether to follow him into midfield or hold their position, and either choice opened space. If they followed him, Henry and Eto'o could attack the space they left behind. If they stayed, Messi reasoned entirely. He wasn't the top scorer or the flashiest player on the pitch. He controlled rhythm and tempo, deciding when the team sped up and when it slowed down, and that control was often more decisive than any single goal. Iniesta's job was to receive the ball under pressure, in tight spaces, and break defensive lines with a single pass or a single touch that opened up the whole pitch. And Busquets, the player few outside Barcelona had heard of a year earlier, read danger before it happened, won second balls nobody else was positioned to win, and kept possession moving with one-touch passing that never gave opponents a moment to press. All of it was held together by one simple rule: lose the ball and press to win it back within 6 seconds. The moment Barcelona lost possession, the nearest players swarmed the ball before the opponent could settle or build an attack of their own. And within seconds, Barcelona had the ball back and were attacking again. This whole approach had a name: juego de posición, positional play. Every player, every pass, every space on the pitch had a purpose. By May, that system had Barcelona in position to win everything. And on May the 2nd, 2009, they produced the match that came to define the whole era. Away at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. The score was tense early, level at 1 apiece at one stage, before it completely broke open. Puyol headed in from a Xavi cross. More goals followed. Final score, 6-2. It remains one of the most emphatic away wins in the history of that fixture. But the biggest test still remained. 4 days later in London, the system faced its hardest challenge yet: the Champions League semi-final. Second leg, at Stamford Bridge. The first leg had finished goalless at Camp Nou. Chelsea took the lead in just the 9th minute through Michael Essien, a strike that flew in off the underside of the bar. For the rest of the match, Barcelona barely created a chance. Chelsea had 4 separate penalty appeals waved away, and their frustration boiled over by full time. And then in the 93rd minute, with Barcelona seconds from elimination, Messi slipped the ball to Iniesta. One touch, first time, into the top corner. Barcelona had created very little for almost the entire match, but one moment was enough. That victory changed more than just the tie. It sent Barcelona to the final itself, on May the 27th in Rome, against a Manchester United side that had just won the Premier League and hadn't lost a European match all season. Barcelona were genuinely short-handed. 2 players suspended, 1 injured, players shuffled into unfamiliar positions just to field a team. None of it mattered. Eto'o scored in the 10th minute. Messi, despite being barely 5'7", rose above 2 much taller defenders to head in the second in the 70th minute. 2-0. Guardiola, in his very first season as a senior manager, became the youngest coach in history to win the Champions League. Here's the part of this story that made it more than just a great team winning trophies. 7 of the 11 players who started that Rome final came through Barcelona's own academy, La Masia. Piqué, Puyol, Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, Busquets, Valdés, all of them products of the same academy, all taught the exact same footballing identity from childhood. That wasn't a coincidence. By the time these players reached the first team, they already understood the system instinctively, because it was the only football they'd ever been taught. Across the whole season, 70% of Barcelona's total minutes were played by players the club had developed themselves. No club had ever won a Champions League final fielding that much homegrown talent. This wasn't bought, it was built. And the rest of football noticed immediately. This wasn't simply a case of Real Madrid signing one big name. That same summer, they spent a combined figure of over €250 million completely rebuilding their squad. Cristiano Ronaldo for a world record fee. Kaká, Karim Benzema, Xabi Alonso, Raúl Albiol, Álvaro Arbeloa. An entire new team, assembled almost overnight in the sport. The trophies still weren't finished. Barcelona beat Athletic Bilbao 4-1 in the Copa del Rey final, adding a domestic cup to the league title and the Champions League. Then came the Spanish Super Cup, won comfortably, and the UEFA Super Cup, won as well. That left one final trophy standing between Barcelona and history, the Club World Cup, against Estudiantes de La Plata in Abu Dhabi. That final nearly ended in disaster. Estudiantes took the lead in the 37th minute through a Mauro Boselli header, and defended so well that Barcelona couldn't find a way through for almost the entire match. With just a minute left in normal time, Pedro finally equalised, sending the game into extra time. Then, in the 110th minute, Messi met a cross from Dani Alves and finished it, not with his foot, but with his chest. A goal that's still remembered as one of the most iconic moments of the entire campaign. 2-1, 6 trophies. Every single one they entered that year, the first team in football history to do it. Guardiola would go on to win 14 of a possible 19 trophies across 4 seasons at Barcelona. The tactical model this team built got copied across Europe, and it directly shaped Spain's own World Cup winning midfield the following year, built around the exact same trio of Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets. More than 15 years later, this is still the team most people mean when they argue about the greatest club side football has ever produced. Not because they won 6 trophies, plenty of great teams have collected silverware. Barcelona changed the way football itself was played. They proved a rookie manager could outthink Europe's elite, that an academy could produce the best team in the world, and that possession could be used not just to control matches, but to dominate them. Long after the trophies gathered dust, the ideas they introduced were still shaping football.